Hello, my name's Joe Pomeroy. Throughout my whole life, starting at 8 years old, for some reason, I just had an affinity towards things mechanical, especially motorcycles. I started racing motocross as a teenager, started road racing motorcycles in my 30s. Since my injury, I got into hand cycling around 2017. I've become pretty serious about it, riding typically 6 or 7 thousand miles a year. My life before injury was kind of typical. Grew up in a great household, youngest of 5 kids. In our family, if you wanted something, you had to go out and work, make your own money and get it. So I did that, mainly to fuel motorcycles. Went to community college first, got a couple degrees there, transferred to Virginia Tech, met a woman, classical thing, got married, lifestyle was pretty good. It wasn't until I had things financially set where I started road racing motorcycles. Then in my 30s, I decided, I was riding really aggressively on the street and that's not the place to do it. So I decided, I need to take it to the racetrack. So won 5 national championships, over 30 regional championships. And then in June 1st of 2013, I had a track that I'm very familiar with. It's a long front straight. So whatever top speed your bike will do, that's what you're going to be doing. The bike I was on was good for about 145. As soon as I shut the throttle off to go into turn one, to start braking forward, the engine locked up and seized. Not a good situation, locks the back wheel up. My erections were so fast, I got the clutch in so fast, I was able to get the back wheel unlocked and get the bike back under control. But in that time, at that speed, we traveled such a distance that I started to run out of track, even though I was braking extremely hard, trying to make a turn. Knew I was going to go off the track. So I get on the grass and start dialing the braking in. I'm looking off to the right, and I really didn't know the crash was coming. First thing that I remember happening is my right leg flying past my head. And I remember thinking, that leg's broken. And then I was out. And this track doesn't have enough runoff room, is one of the issues. So they have a big earthen embankment at the end of the runoff area. And I hit that, still going at fast enough where it actually launched me in the air into trees. I remember waking up in the woods with them working on me for maybe 10 seconds. Went back out, woke back up in the ambulance for only a few seconds. Went back out. Next thing I know is they're trying to put me in the MRI machine. And I woke up then. And after the MRI, I don't remember anything until waking up from surgery and, lying in the bed. Of course, I didn't know exactly what happened. I could tell I couldn't move around, but I reached down with my hand and grabbed my leg and squeezed my leg. I could feel my leg. My right leg, I reached down, grabbed that, really couldn't feel that. I broke a total of 8 bones in my back, 3 in my neck, 16 ribs, and then my compound fracture on my femur. So I'm lying there thinking, oh, well, I'm just really, really banged up from a really bad crash. I can feel my leg, I'm not paralyzed. After another day or so, I started thinking, I can't move anything. So this isn't right. I was asking anybody that came into my room, I'm going to be able to walk. They would always say, you got to talk to your doctor. The doctor finally comes in. What's the first thing I asked him? He's like, well, I give it about a 1% chance. And I was like, oh, okay, 1%. That's not zero. My thought process was, this is not good. But I was also thinking, they don't really know what's going on with my body. How can they really know how I'm going to recover? So I didn't accept it, even when I was there. Even when I got home, I didn't accept it. To me, the hardest time is right when you go home. Yes, I was married, but that's it. All of my family doesn't live in the area. There's only so much my wife, who is now an ex-wife, there's only so much she could or would do. Wasn't able to do outpatient rehab yet. Wasn't strong enough to transfer into a car by myself very well at all. And I still had a massive amount of pain. I have a very high pain threshold, but even with the pain meds I was on, I had a massive amount of pain. 9 months post-injury was my bottom point. That's when my depression was the worst. And I had a plan to take myself out. Really, there's only 2 things that held me back. Number one, my mom's still alive. And I was like, no mother should outlive a child. And so I couldn't do it to her, but also the racing community. The motorcycle racing community is a very tight-knit group. And they were very supportive of me and helped me out a lot in many ways. A couple weeks go by and I said, I'm going to give this 6 more months. You're still not even 1 year past. And the funny thing about saying that, right after I said that, things in my life started to improve. The pain started getting a little better. Blood pressure started being more stable. Temperature regulation started getting a little bit better. And my first goal was driving again, which I did after just 6 months. So we're into month 10 now. I'm seeing some improvement. I'm like going, okay, you got 2 choices. Either check out or get to work. Get to work and start doing the hard work consistently. So I decided to go that route. And I started going to Project Walk in Atlanta as well every other week. It's now called Next Step instead of Project Walk. They really helped me out a lot. with strength, what kind of exercise to do. And my level of injury is T7, T8. I probably operate more like maybe a T10 because of all the exercise and work I did. And a lot of that credit really needs to go to Next Step Atlanta. I was doing research on stem cells. I ran across a place in Panama, which is run by an American doctor. It's best to get stem cells sooner than later. And so I decided to go down there. It was not fun for me because I had massive headaches after the injections. And that's one of the things they say that can happen. I had one accident when I was down there, and I get home and I had one partial accident, like only a week after I get home. Never had another accident since. So the stem cells did do something to my bladder such that I stopped having accidents. Probably about 3 weeks after I got home from the stem cells, all of a sudden I felt water hitting my stomach in the shower. And I started gaining back a little more feeling in my legs, not movement, but feeling. I was still going to Next Step Atlanta. And then I started getting some hip flexor movement. So I started crawling. And then I decided, well, I'm going to get KAFO braces for my legs because then I can stand. I use my KFOs in the gym because they have a little circle area I can use with a walker. I was doing it more for rehab versus than trying to walk again because I wasn't getting enough strength back to stand. I think we've all lost friends as a result of spinal cord injury, and that includes me. You do stop getting invited to do things. The thing that helped me there was adaptive sports, primarily hand cycling. That is the one thing that I mainly stress to people if I'm mentoring somebody with spinal cord injury is get into adaptive sports. Plug into the adaptive community in some way, shape, or form because you're going to need to make new friends. And you're going to need to make new friends who understand what you're going through. I say that, but I've also made new friends through hand cycling because I ride with a lot of able-bodied riders. So that opened up a new community to me. When I came home and I tried to go back to work unsuccessfully because of everything my body was still going through. I was home 24/7. And that's when my wife, my now ex-wife, and I realized that we're really not made for each other to be around 24/7. So we divorced and I bought a new house and had it built to my specs, which is very comfortably living. It's fully adapted for me, 0 steps, basically almost coming up on 7 years living solo. Oh, my proudest accomplishment since spinal cord injury. My first proudest accomplishment is simply surviving it and getting through the first year, bottom line. Probably the next one is designing your life to a point where you're content and mostly happy. I kind of have an 80-20 rule. If you're happy 80% of the time, that's pretty good. If your life only sucks 20% of the time and you dwell on that, you can make it more than 20% by dwelling on it. My life's not perfect. I still have my shitty days, but most of the time I've designed it such that, pretty good. And then I have accomplished some really cool things with hand cycling. I am a pioneer in gravel hand cycling, off-road gravel hand cycling, non-e-assist. I'm one of the few people to do it, and I'm trying to grow that sport, and it is growing. For new people, give it time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Be patient. One thing I've talked about to people is time is measured differently when you have a spinal cord injury. Everything takes longer for us to do, but it also takes your body longer to adjust and heal. With a spinal cord injury, that's where the patience comes in. So be patient with your body, be patient with yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Survive it, and then make a plan. How important was trying to walk again, and was it the priority when I was injured? Of course, when you're first injured, you think, yeah, I want to walk again. I would say after about year 3 or 4, maybe, it became, I didn't like my spinal cord injury. I still don't like my spinal cord injury, but it's reality and I accept it. I don't have to like it for the rest of my life, but I accept it. And so how do I make my life the best?